Awesome. Hi, everyone. Welcome. We see people joining right now, so come on in. We're going to give it a few minutes for people to join. So thank you and welcome. And as you're joining, we'd also love if you want to throw in the chat what inspired you to get involved in your UNICEF club. Why are you involved in UNICEF? Why do you love it? We'd love to hear from you. So if you want to add it in the chat while you're joining, please do. Just so everyone knows, we're gonna give it until about 8:05 to get started. So do what you need to do, but make sure you're ready to go. At 8:05, we'll kick it off. Hi, everyone. For those of you who are just joining, welcome. I just want to share again that we are going to get started at about 8:05. We're letting some folks trickle in and we'll get started shortly. But in the meantime, feel free to share in the chat with us why you first got involved with UNICEF and specifically your UNICEF club. What inspired you most? All right, welcome everyone. Since it's 8:05, we'll go ahead and get started. So thank you for joining us. As we've shared, this is our Community Fundraising 101. So we are excited to learn a little bit more about events and fundraising tips and tricks, and we're so excited you could all join us. But before we do that, I would love to quickly introduce the faces that you see in our video. So just so you know who's all here running the behind the scenes of our webinar. So my name's Morgan, for those of you who don't know me, and I've been working with our clubs for over 5 years now, which is exciting. And then on the screen down below, you'll see Jen. And Jen, hopefully you guys recognize from social media. She runs all things social. You'll be hearing from her a little bit later, and she's running our Q&A. And then Ariana is also our behind the scenes gal. She's new to the team and she is going to be manning the chat. So you'll see her sharing some thoughts with you all on chat, and she's working with all of our youth leaders. So we're excited to have them, and then we will intro Kathy and Emiliana shortly. But before we do that, we want to start with a quick icebreaker. We want to do a little Mentimeter. So if you guys haven't heard of Mentimeter, you can go to the website here, menti.com. We want to check in with you all. We want to know one thing you're excited to learn today. So you can enter this code, and I'm actually going to switch over to that screen, and so you'll see it here too. So go ahead. I'll give you a quick moment to do that. You can do it on your phone, scan the QR code, and enter the code. All right. How are we feeling? Give us a thumbs up if you feel good and you're ready. I'm seeing some folks in there. We'll throw the number in the chat so you can continue to do that if you haven't yet. So I'm going to go ahead to the next slide. We can kick off our first mentee. So we want to know what's one thing that you're hoping to learn from this webinar today. So you can go ahead and chat it in the Mentimeter. And I think you can also do up to 3. So if you're feeling crazy, you can share with us 3 things that you're excited for. Fundraising ideas, awesome. I think we'll have plenty of those, so hopefully you walk away with some new ideas. Awesome, submitting funds. We'll have some tangible tips for you too and some resources. Learning how to spread awareness, how to help the world. Advocacy. I think there's definitely ways that our events can overlap with advocacy efforts, so that's really exciting too. How to help others, how to maximize funds. Awesome. I think we'll definitely touch on those as well. Advertising events. I think promoting them is half the battle, so that's a big one we'll definitely touch on, and we'll share some more ideas too. Inspiration, creativity, these are great. I think we'll definitely touch on a lot of these, and we're excited to also hear from you all. So as we go through, feel free to share ideas. We'll ask for some more of your ideas later on. But with that, let's kick it back over to our presentation. And I'm going to pass it over to Emiliana and Kathy.
Thanks so much, Morgan. Very glad to be here with you all tonight. Hi, Kathy, you there?
I'm here.
Awesome.
Hi, everybody.
So for today, we are going to be doing an intro to community fundraising for you all. We're going to be sharing some really exciting fundraising resources and tips and tricks for you to host your own fundraisers and events. And then we're going to actually talk a little bit about what fundraising is like in your own UNICEF clubs and around the country, and challenge you to participate in our spring fundraising challenge. So we'll tell you a bit about that in a little while, and then help answer any questions that you might have.
Great. Thanks, Emiliana, for that awesome overview. I'll kick us off. So first, we'd love to hear from all of you. We are going to launch a poll so that we can learn a little bit more. So how many of you have hosted an event or fundraiser with your club? Go ahead and respond to that. Yes, no, but I'd like to host one this year. See what we got. Give it a couple minutes, a couple seconds. All right, last call. I think we're feeling pretty good. I'll go ahead and share these results. But what we see is that 9 folks say, yes, they've hosted a fundraiser. That's awesome. I can't wait to hear more. We'll have an opportunity to kind of share some of your fundraisers in a little bit. And then we have 5 folks who say they haven't hosted a fundraiser yet, but they'd like to host one this year. And that makes us very excited. We love to learn more about what your ideas are in terms of what fundraiser you're thinking of. And again, we'll have a chance to kind of talk through that a little bit more. And you're going to get an opportunity to learn about our fundraiser and event application to get you started. So without further ado, let's jump right in.
Okay, I can get us started here to learn more about what our community fundraising program is. So we aim to inspire and support constituents who are actively engaging their community by participating in or organizing fundraisers, educational and/or awareness-driven activities on behalf of UNICEF USA. We provide resources, technologies, and expertise to ensure that our constituents have a meaningful experience and maximize fundraising potential. And we do all this to support UNICEF USA's mission by fundraising to create a better world for every child. I'll throw it back over to you, Kathy, to walk us through our fundraiser and event program.
All right, let's jump into that. I'm so sorry. Here we go. All right, so we have a few things that we want to cover today. So we'll go through a lot of information tonight, but there are 5 key takeaways that we want you to remember. So first off, the fundraiser and event program supports individuals and groups interested in organizing fundraisers and/or awareness-driven events on behalf of UNICEF USA. Our primary goal is to provide access to our platforms and technologies. We have resources, tools, and expertise just to ensure that our UNICEF supporters have a meaningful experience and can maximize their fundraising potential. We call all these third-party events, meaning it's an event that is hosted by an individual, a group, a company, and it's organized and financed by that host. So it's not organized by UNICEF USA. This is where UNICEF USA is solely the beneficiary. These activities run the gamut from a bake sale to a benefit concert. We have folks who host webinars, panel discussions, everything in between. And all of these events can be hosted by third-party individuals. So again, not by UNICEF USA staff. These are all our supporters. So these can, include UNICEF club members, maybe uniters, new supporters, companies, nonprofits, community groups. Anyone who wants to support UNICEF has the opportunity to submit an application. So speaking of the application, we capture these opportunities through our fundraiser and event application. And you can find this at unicefusa.org/fundraiser. And I really want to emphasize that it's extremely important that everyone who is organizing a fundraiser or an event for UNICEF, that they first fill out the fundraiser and event application. This is not only so that you can unlock access to our resources, and oftentimes these are automatically triggered when an application is approved, but it's also so that we can keep track of those events that are happening around the country. We can vet the way that UNICEF's name and logo is being used. And it just gives us an idea of what's going on. So it's really important that if you are hosting a fundraiser and event, that you complete the fundraiser and event application. And finally, everything is managed through our email inbox, and you can reach us at hello@unicefusa.org. So when in doubt, always direct your communications to this email address. We're happy to help. We're happy to talk ideas through and provide any insight that might be useful. All right, so let's take a brainstorm break with another Mentimeter. So we want to hear from you again. So if you can log in using the credentials here, we want to know, what events have you hosted in the past? Because I know we had some folks who said that they hosted some fundraisers and events. Tell us what you hosted. We want to learn more. Oh, we have a bake sale. Oh, bake sale to support Ukraine. Yep, great. Oh, garage sale and a GoFundMe. Oh, tote bag painting. A Jeopardy game show. Oh, I like that. You taught class facts about UNICEF. Very cool. Awesome. More bake sales. Bake sales are great because who doesn't love a pastry, right? Ooh, a mental health fundraiser. Baked goods, books, art, face painting, nail art, and henna. Oh, I love this. Oh, reaching out to the community. That's a great way, is to connect with your networks that are right around maybe your school, or maybe you have a community activation that you can get it behind. That's awesome. Another Jeopardy, ice skating fundraiser, Chipotle. Very cool. Anyone else? Trick or treat. Yes, trick or treat is a great time to host a fundraiser. Make a Valentine. I'm loving this. Oh, that's great. So I see that some folks have activated around emergencies like Ukraine, Pakistan, Turkey and Syria emergency. That's really, we do see a lot of folks who kind of rally behind those emergencies to really bring in those funds to support support families who are impacted by emergencies. So thank you. Hot chocolate, 2 years going. That's awesome. Thank you. All right, great responses, everyone. Thank you for sharing. Hopefully, for those of you who haven't hosted a fundraiser yet, this maybe gave you some ideas to think through toward the end of this school year, or perhaps next year you can kind of rally behind those. So let's walk through the steps quickly. Not only will this give you an idea of what to do to get your fundraiser or event approved, but it'll also give you, access to some of our platforms. And I'll go into those in just a little bit. But the steps, 3 big steps, 3 small steps, we'll say. First, someone comes up with the idea for an activity or a fundraiser that they want to host. So brainstorm with your club. Think of some ideas that make sense to you all. Next, you would go to unicefusa.org/fundraiser and you fill out the fundraiser and event application. We'll give you a sneak peek of what that looks like. And then once your event is approved, your club will get access to our fundraiser platforms and resources. So we have tools, downloadable templates, and more. We'll give you a sneak peek about that as well. Now let's take a quick look at that application. Here's a screenshot of what we're asking, just to give us an idea of what it gives us an opportunity to learn more about your fundraiser and maybe share some more resources that will make the most sense. So it allows us to capture, this application allows us to capture all of the details of your proposed idea. It includes, what area of UNICEF's work you want to support. Like you saw that some folks wanted to support Ukraine or Syria and Turkey. We do have an opportunity for you to share what is meaningful to you. Of course, we always want to have what we call unrestricted funds. So selecting global programs allows our funds to go to where they are needed most, but some folks do want to support some of those emergencies, and you do have an opportunity to fill this out and select those opportunities, so those programs. And then we also ask how you'll use UNICEF's logo. This is really important because we want to make sure that we get eyes on any materials that you have that use our name and logo, just to make sure that everything's aligned, that you're using the appropriate logo, just to kind of take a peek at how you're promoting your event. It's also important to draw your attention to the question that asks if you'd like a ticketing page. So if you'd like to get set up with your own customizable event page, make sure you check the box when you fill out the application. This is because once the application is approved, the ticketing page is automatically triggered to be sent to your email address so you can start working on that page. So it's just easier if you check that box when you know that you want to use the ticketing platform. And we'll get into that ticketing platform in just a second. But if you can, give us a thumbs up in the chat if you've submitted an application before. We'd like to see. Seeing some thumbs. Love to see it. All right. So you submit an application, so you come up with your idea, you submit your application, maybe you talk to us a little bit, and then we say, this is a great event, it's approved. So once it's approved, you'll have access to our fundraiser and event resource page. And this is linked in the autoresponder email that you'll receive when your event is approved. If for some reason you don't receive that email, you can go ahead and send an email to hello@unicefusa.org, and we'll make sure you get that. But here you'll find a selection of different buckets or collections full of resources. So you'll see that we have a collection of UNICEF USA brand guidelines, for example. This is where you'll have access to download our In Support of UNICEF logo. You'll also see a link that says, UNICEF clubs. There's a bunch of resources that are specific to clubs that you'll be able to get access to. We also have templates, and we also include under emergency response, you'll have access to some videos and photos that might be interesting and important to include in some of, maybe if you're hosting a webinar or something like that. So we have a ton of resources, and we're always here to answer any questions and get more resources to you. But just so you know, once you get approval, you'll have access to these. And here's a little sneak peek of what those resources look like. So you'll see many of these on our website also. And you'll also find, everything from like event ideas and our fundraiser and event guide. We have a resource that gives you an overview of how to host a panel. Maybe you've never hosted a panel before, but you're interested in providing, some information to students at your school or something like that, maybe a community event. We do have these resources. All right, another brainstorm break. So we want to hear from you. What other resources would help you host successful events and fundraisers? So make sure you go to menti.com, put in this code again. Tell us what resources that maybe you need, maybe something that we need to include in our resource buckets. Ooh, UNICEF merch. I wonder if there's anything in particular for UNICEF merch, any materials that maybe go over really well. Would love to hear more. Oh, Instagram and TikTok post templates for fundraising promotion. I will say in one of our buckets of resources, we do have some social media resources that do have some of those templates. I don't TikTok one, so that's good to know. Contact of speakers, LinkedIn of speakers to invite them to a club meeting. That's a great segue to also mention, if you are hosting a fundraiser or an event and you're interested in having a UNICEF speaker, please include that in your fundraiser and event application. And we do ask that we have pretty substantial amount of time so that we can try to find somebody maybe in your area or perhaps somebody who can Zoom in to attend your event. We try to support those types of requests, and but it is great when it goes through our fundraiser and event application first. Ideas of how to rally big groups from your entire community. I like that. UNICEF t-shirt. Anything else? This is all really helpful, and we'll make sure that we can, I think there was one more, but UNICEF water bottles, shirts to sell, and or use raffle prizes, ideas about how to engage your community. I'm loving all of these. Thank you so much for sharing. I do want to mention that we do have a few things on our resources as well about t-shirts. So we do have a design that's on our platform that can be used if you wanted to design something, but we can get into that later. Let's switch over to talk a little bit about our ticketing and registration platform. This is through a platform called TicketSocket. So we'll kind of take a look at this platform. So with our platform, you can create and customize your own event page to sell tickets or gather RSVPs. Again, friendly reminder, make sure you check that box on that fundraiser and event application, because it does trigger the page to be launched and sent to you once the application is approved. This page is very customizable, not completely, but really customizable to include all your event details, including date, time, location. You can upload photos. You can share more information about why the event is important to you. There's an option where you can sell tickets or collect donations, or you can collect RSVPs, and everything is just designated to where you selected in the application. So if you did host an event in support of Ukraine, for example, when you select that on the back end, we're able to make sure that those funds go directly to Ukraine. The host can keep track of registration on the back end, so you'll have access to see who registered. You're able to, take a look at those RSVPs and take a look at the donations that are made. And an email confirmation is also customizable, and it serves as a tax-deductible receipt. So if you do have a ticketing, if you are selling tickets, they're able to use those as a tax receipt. And I think we sent the application in the chat box, so you can take a look at one of those sample pages. Another great resource is our peer-to-peer online fundraising page. You can go to join.unicefusa.org/P2B clubs to get started with your fundraising page. This page is also customizable, so you can add a fundraising goal. You can include a custom title, maybe a small profile picture, any language to share. And I really want to emphasize that it's such a great way to share why something is meaningful for you. So like why we talked about UNICEF USA, or why UNICEF is important to you, or why you decided to choose UNICEF. This is a great opportunity to kind of plug in a little blurb. Why is UNICEF important to you? And then this link can be shared with friends, family, UNICEF club members. There's also a way to create a QR code, and you can put that QR code on flyers, social media, wherever you want folks to be able to scan and donate directly to your fundraiser page. That's also a great option with this fundraising page. And then you'll also, once again, be able to keep track of all the donations in real time on the back end. So you'll be able to see who has donated, keep track of how much they've donated. And it's always great to send a message of thanks to those folks who do donate, just to let them know that you appreciate their donation. So now I've gone through our many fundraising platforms, and I'd love to send it back over to Emiliana to remind us how to remit funds and to kind of bring us home on this 101 presentation.
Thank you so much, Kathy. That was so wonderful. And I hope you are all inspired to host your own fundraisers and events and now know all the right steps to do so. So let's say that you've already hosted your own event, and as we near the end of the school year, you're ready to submit your funds from that fundraiser, or just for future reference, you do have a couple of ways to do so. You can either do it online by going to this friendly URL that you see on the screen, unicefusa.org/clubremit. You continue, or you fill out rather the details on the screen, and then you'll be able to make the donation online. Or you can also do it by mailing in a check. And so some schools, some administrations do it this way as well, but we do ask that you use the donation form that you see on the screen, and that you can access from that link that we have there on the screen as well, and that we will put in the chat, so that we can keep a record of that donation being tied to your UNICEF club. So make sure that you are either donating your funds online or by mail using those two links, so that the donation can be tracked accordingly in your school record. And when in doubt, you can always go to unicefclubs.org, and both of those resources, as well as everything that Kathy mentioned, is going to be on the website. And to wrap up, let's talk about some best practices to follow when you are hosting your events. The first, and a reminder, is to always complete our fundraiser and event application. You'll see that friendly URL right there once again, unicefusa.org/fundraiser. Use only our approved logos. You will get access to these, as Kathy mentioned, whenever your application is approved, and you'll be able to download from a wide variety of options and colors. Please make sure that you are sending all your marketing materials for approval to our email, hello@unicefusa.org. This will ensure that we can provide the right sign-off on how our name and logo should look. Make sure that you're streamlining any UNICEF or UNICEF USA guest speaker requests through our fundraiser and event application, as Kathy was mentioning earlier. Make sure that you note if there's any companies, talent, or media involved on the application. Of course, please take advantage of our resources, our tools, and our platforms that are here for you to host your events. And then finally, as I just mentioned, make sure that you remit the funds using the right donation forms. And again, when in doubt, always go to unicefclubs.org, and that's going to make sure that we can track your funds accordingly. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Jen, who is going to talk to us a little bit about fundraising in real life.
Thank you, Emiliana. Yeah, hi everyone. Let's talk a bit about what fundraising in real life looks like. So one great example of an activity or an event that you can do with your club is the Students Rebuild Challenge. It's been super popular. We're super excited to see that. Basically, how it works is that once you sign up via the link below, you can create postcards to welcome refugees and then submit your art to Students Rebuild. And your club then directly unlocks dollars to support UNICEF's work with child refugees displaced from their homes. So far this year, we've had over 3,000 pieces of artwork submitted from nearly 2,000 youth participants. So that's awesome. And if you're thinking, you know, that sounds pretty cool, I'd like to participate in that. All you have to do is just take a photo at the link at the bottom on the slide, follow the instructions. And of course, I'm going to plug, you know, our volunteer stories, because us at UNICEF, we're always looking for volunteer stories, basically just to highlight you and to share all the incredible work you're doing. So what you can do is then submit photos and videos of your club events when creating your artwork to Memory Fox, which I'll talk more about later. But yeah, this challenge is open until June 20th, so be sure to participate. And I think the link is also in the chat, so that'll be helpful. All right, and then let's talk a little bit about our fundraising challenge here, which is exciting. So I'm super excited to share a video that our council member Kripa created on how you can bring on spring. That's what it's called, sharing examples of events that her club has recently hosted.
Can you guys hear it? Morgan, I don't think we can hear the sound.
Yeah, we can't hear it, unfortunately.
Sorry, y'all. I'm not sure why that is. I have sound sharing on, but let's just do a quick reshare. Sorry for some technical glitches, y'all. One moment. Share sound. Let's try this again. My computer. It's freezing on me, so that's good. Doing really great. Okay, one more try. Okay. For some reason, it's not liking me to choose this option, so that's unfortunate.
Ugh.
Okay. Unfortunately, we might not be able to play that, and we might need to share it with y'all afterwards. I'm going to try one more time.
If it doesn't work, we will definitely share it with you afterwards, because it is truly fantastic. We'll share it on our social channels, so be sure to follow UNICEF Clubs if you don't already. And one more try. No.
Sorry,
Okay.
y'all. It's unfortunate.
Oh well.
All right. We'll get back to that later. Maybe at the end if we can try again, but we'll keep going. Thanks, Jen.
Okay. I'm sorry. It really is fantastic, and be sure to check our Instagram later because we'll post it right after this. You don't want to miss it. But basically, I'm excited to launch our spring fundraising challenge. Here's how you can participate. We really want you to host your own Bring on Spring fundraiser or event. This could be spring themed, like a fun flower sale or an outdoor walk. It could be, an event related to Earth Day, which is coming up on Saturday, or Mental Health Month. So really all you have to do is, like Emiliana and Kathy shared previously, is submit your fundraiser and event application, host your event from now until May 31st. Then you can record a video of your event and share it to our Memory Fox campaign, which is our site that we use to collect volunteer stories, and also post it to your social media account if you have one, or if your club has one. And be sure to tag us at UNICEF Clubs and use the Bring on Spring fundraiser. The top 3 most creative videos will be rewarded with exclusive UNICEF USA merch. And if I do say so myself, it looks very cool. So be sure to take a photo of that QR code right there just to keep it. We'll also share it on our social channels. So keep an eye out for that, and have fun with your Bring on Spring event or fundraiser. We can't wait to see them. And now I will pass it back to Morgan.
All right, thanks, y'all. Bummed we couldn't play the video. We'll work on it and get that over to y'all because honestly, it's amazing and it makes me smile. It's such a great video from Kripa. But in the meantime, I would love to hear from you all as we wrap up this presentation. I want to know what you learned. If there was one thing that you could share about something you're going to take away from this webinar, we'd love for you to share that with us. We'll wrap up with this and then have a couple minutes for Q&A at the end. So let me switch over to our Mentimeter. There we go. All right. What's one of your biggest takeaways? Go ahead and share with us. We'll give it a minute or two for y'all to think on it. You can share with us in Menti. You can also share it with us in the chat. And maybe it's something you were reminded about, or that you learned that was new, but that's great. I think the resources available, that's hopefully a big one that you all are reminded about, or you learned something new about a different tool, because I do think we have some pretty good, robust tools for you all to use. And we'll give it another second if anyone else wants to share. All right. Creating an event page, great, awesome. New events, resources, advocacy and volunteer opportunity resources. These are great. The postcard idea is really fun. I think that's a great way to engage your club, and you can easily do that at a meeting too. Love new ideas. Better ticket sources, I think that's also really great. And hopefully it helps you create some digital friendly events, because I know that's where everyone's going nowadays. Awesome. And filling out an application. And now you know the faces behind the application, and they're the folks who are going to help you directly and work with you to hopefully help you have a successful event. So they're there for you all. Awesome. Okay. Well, with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to welcome back on Kathy and Emiliana. And we want to answer your questions. So you can feel free to drop them in the Q&A function. So you'll see that down in the bottom. If you click Q&A, that'll populate for us, which is very helpful so we can organize any of your questions. So if you put them in the chat, go ahead and also add them to the Q&A, because that's how we can sort of sort them and answer them in the best way. And so maybe to kick it off, I can start with a question. Emiliana, Kathy, I'd love to hear from you. You both have been involved for such a long time, and I'd love to know if there's an event that sticks out in your mind, whether you were a part of it or maybe you saw it come through that you felt really was so impactful or really touched you and something you loved.
Kathy, anything come to mind from our recent events?
We've had some good ones come through. One most recently, it just came through today, and I wish it was at the top of my head a little bit more, but there's a school that's hosting a week-long fundraiser, and they have got their whole school involved, where I think on Monday they're doing a pie throwing contest so that students can donate funds to throw a pie at one of their teachers. They get to choose their teacher, all of this. So that sounds really fun, but it's a week long of events. Like it's just this huge, like almost like a carnival week of fun activities, and they're donating all of the funds to UNICEF, which was just such a fun thing to see today, actually. And I know we mentioned trick or treat a little bit earlier, but October is Trick or Treat for UNICEF month, and it's really a great way to rally your fellow students and classmates around UNICEF's work. And there's some really fun things with like costume contests and trunk or treats, which if no one knows what a trunk or treat is, but some folks will get together in a parking lot and they'll decorate their trunks for Halloween. So it'll be spooky and creepy and fun, and they'll pass out candy that way. But some of those events will also collect donations if folks are interested in doing that. So those were a couple that kind of come to mind. I don't know, Emiliana, was there anything that kind of sticks in your mind?
Well, that makes me think of one fun thing that I did back when I was in high school many years ago, which was a student versus teacher basketball game. You just made me think of that with that week-long fundraiser. So that's awesome. And one thing that we did pop in the chat or in the answer to Q&A questions, I'm not sure if everyone can see it, but we will link it in the chat, is our fundraising packet, which actually has a bunch of event ideas listed on there so that you can get really creative ideas.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, thank you both for sharing. We got another question come in. QR codes. How can you create one? Are we able to create them with any of our tools?
Yes, absolutely. So when you create a peer-to-peer online fundraising page, which we did share the link, but if you have any questions, don't forget to send us an email. There's actually a way on the back end when you log in, you can scroll down to the section that says create a QR code, and you hit it and it creates the QR code, and you can download that image. And it's just like a little JPEG that you can pop into flyers. And then just like any QR code, folks can scan it and it goes directly to your online fundraising page. It's really great. You know, like sometimes those peer-to-peer links are long and they have random letters and numbers, but this is such a quick and easy way to be able to share that QR code out, you know, especially if it's outside of like social media or like internet access, you know, you want something more tangible. So yeah, and if you have any questions, we actually have a kind of a one-pager that goes through how to create the QR code. So it goes through each step that you can take to log in on the back end for that.
So thank you. So what about other events? So maybe it's not a fundraiser specifically. Do we still need to submit that event to you all for approval?
Yes, please. We want to know what's going on. We'd love to see how clubs are interacting with their communities, but also it's really important for us to kind of know how our name and logo is being used. And so when you complete the fundraiser and event application, you're gaining, and your event is approved, you're gaining access to that approved in support of UNICEF logo. We really just want to kind of make sure that we know how our name and logo is being used, and also we want to know what you're doing. So it's always great to just kind of run it by us, just so that we can know what's going on, and we're also here to help. We have so many resources, and we're so excited to be able to share those with you. You know, we have folks who message us and say, hey, I'm hosting an Earth Day event. What can you tell me about what UNICEF is doing with like climate? And we have access to all these resources, you know, videos, one-pagers, statistics, and we can send those to you. So you don't have to go digging around. We're able to send you those resources. And it brings us joy to be able to do that. So please complete the fundraiser and event application so we can be happy.
Yes, I like that pitch for it. Well, I think with that, I'd love to wrap up, but I'd love to end it on one final question. I would love to know if you have one simple piece of advice that you'd love to give our clubs when hosting any sort of event. What would that be?
I think I would say that you're going back to sharing your UNICEF story and your why you choose to support UNICEF is so powerful. And if you can integrate that into your fundraiser, you will see how much you will inspire your community.
Yeah, completely agree. I think we see that some fundraisers, especially like online fundraisers, folks who share why something is important to them, maybe it's education, global education is so important to them. I think people are more likely to donate and to learn from you as well. When they see the passion that's coming out of you, that excites them as well. So I think you hit the nail on the head, Emiliana.
Awesome. Well, thank you both so much. We're excited that you were both able to join us and talk a little bit about events, and hopefully that helped all of you with new ideas, understanding our resources a little bit better. And we can't wait to see what you're going to do this spring. So don't forget to tag us, and we're excited to highlight all of the awesome work you're doing. So thank you all for joining.
Thanks
for having
everyone.
us.
Bye.
Bye.